Hello, everybody. My name is Michael Samuel, and I'm the president and CEO of Nobel Systems. So we are a software technology company, and we provide a software called GeoViewer, which is an asset management GIS system. And it's on the cloud, and it's really unique in the sense that customers don't need to be at their desks all day to use GIS. They can be out in the field or anywhere they are. And it's really good for the challenges we face today in the pandemic. And we also are very quick to respond to customer requirements. And we are really privileged today to host this panel. And we have with us in the panel three very distinguished gentlemen. Tom Coleman, who's the general manager of Rowland Water District in Rowland Heights, California. He has significant expertise in managing complex water resources. He handles decision-making and management that allows the district to fulfill its mission of delivering high-quality water to over 62,000 people every day. We also have with us Mark Bahn, the general manager for Joshua Basin Water District in Joshua Tree, California. He has an in-depth background in water utility construction, maintenance, and operations. He served as the director of operations and assistant general manager of water resources and operations for High Desert Water District in Yucca Valley before joining Joshua Basin. We have Mike Miazga, who is the information technology manager for El Toro Water District in Lake Forest, California. He is responsible for planning, organizing, and directing the information systems department activities in providing sophisticated, comprehensive, district-wise information technology programs and services to support the achievement of district mission and strategies. Some housekeeping rules. Our program, we estimate, would be just about 40 to 45 minutes. The first 25 minutes would be the panel discussion. I encourage each of you to ask questions through the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen, and we will try our best to get to all the questions. After we are done with the Q&A, which hopefully should take just about 10 minutes, we would also do a short 5-minute demonstration of our software, and then it'll be a wrap up. So again, thank you very much. And I hand it over to Tom Coleman to start the panel discussion. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Michael, for that kind introduction. Very much appreciated. So at Rowland Water District, I became the general manager here in 2014, December of 2014. And when I came on board, I was super impressed by GeoViewer. It was the first time that I had seen it. And in my professional career, I worked for the city of Alhambra from 1999 to 2007. And we had a GIS system there, and we had a gentleman that we hired to implement the GIS. He was a city employee, and we sent him to Russia, and all over the world to learn about GIS, to be trained on GIS. And we trained him so well that he left and got a higher paying job somewhere else. And so GIS was never fully implemented at Alhambra. It was always something that we knew we owned, and it was this database, but nobody really knew how to access it and use it. So when I got to Alhambra, or when I got to Rowland Water District and saw GeoViewer and the application and how easy it is to use, and how that GeoViewer allows an entry-level meter reader the ability to access such a robust database. And so it really piqued my curiosity on what other things could we get GeoViewer to do. And we had done a master plan, an IT master plan here at Rowland Water District. And that master plan identified some very complex software programs that cities and counties use. And we're just a medium to small size water utility with about, just under 14,000 service connections. And so when I got here, we had already purchased a software program called CityWorks, which is great for a city. It has, dog licenses, code enforcement, community services, public works, police, fire, safety, it's built to run a city. And we were dumbing down that program just for a utility operation and for generating work orders and asset management. We also had another program that we had purchased called CIP Planner, where we were tracking our capital projects and the costs. And so it didn't take me long to figure out that these programs weren't the right programs for us, even though we made a significant investment. And I reached out to Michael and Balaji and the team at Nobel and shared with them, what we wanted. And we were able to work with them to create those modules for us. And so that was just the beginning. We also reached out to them about warehouse inventory and automating that into the GIS system. And so that it tracks our inventory. And when we drop below a certain amount of parts, it automatically notifies staff that those parts need to be reordered. And it allows the field staff to take inventory in and out of the warehouse through their iPads, through the GeoViewer platform. And then we were approached by Michael Samuel and his team about developing some Internet of Things, which some of you may be using some of those products. We were a partner with them on developing an Internet of Things where we monitor our pressure in real time throughout our distribution system. And our service area has a topography that is very hilly, and our reservoirs are up in the hills. Typically, we have a few down low, but most of them are up in the hills. And so we suffer from serving an industrial area that has large 18-wheelers driving around that likes to hit fire hydrants. And so our ability to react to those types of leaks was dependent upon either somebody kind enough to call it in, but in a commercial area, oftentimes people don't do that. And so the operators would see our connections, ramping up to put more water in the system and pressure dropping, but not really knowing where. And so that would require whoever's on standby to drive around until they found it or somebody was kind enough to call it in. So by having these pressure transducers out in our distribution system, strategically located, and I think we're up to about 12 of them, they're tied back into our telemetry system. And so when somebody shears a fire hydrant these days, we're pretty certain when it happens, where it happens, and we're able to track it down and respond much faster. Also, it's great for getting credit in the unaccounted for water loss audits that we all have to do now too. So that's been a great product. And so I just wanted to share with you some of my history with Nobel and working with them on GeoViewer and creating programs that are customized directly to us. And that's really the great thing of this product. And I know that Mark and Mike, who you'll hear from in just a few minutes, they have their own story to tell about how this product works for them. But the main thing for us during the pandemic has been how that collaboration has been much more efficient because we have staggered shifts. We have people working swing shifts, crews that work swing shifts. We have crews that are working day shifts. We have our customer service staff. And so touching all those people and keeping communication flowing on these various different staffing needs, or whether somebody's working from home, GeoViewer has been a great resource for us during the pandemic. We're also implementing an AMI change out of our system, and our target was to complete the conversion to AMI within 3 years. We're ahead of schedule, thankfully. But we've been working with Nobel through GeoViewer to develop an automated meter changeout program where it can all be done through the iPad in the field. The staff person goes to the meter. They're able to capture the coordinates through GeoViewer, and they're able to take pictures of the meter. They're able to scan the Scantron, which uploads the meter information automatically into GeoViewer. They're able to type their notes in, and when they're done, they hit enter, and then that automatically gets sent to the office staff, who are able then to open that up, look at it, verify the data, and then import it directly into the utility billing. And so we've been working with them on that process, and we're excited about it, and think that it's not only going to benefit us in the AMI conversion, but ongoing conversions and meter changeouts in the future. So that's pretty exciting for us too as well. We use GeoViewer for a host of other things. I'm just telling you the things that we've worked on and developed with them. And I think my 5 minutes is up, but I just can't speak highly enough of Nobel and their team. They're not perfect. They're humans. There's technological difficulties, but they interface with other programs and softwares that we use. And so there's glitches with that. But I can tell you there's never been a time that I've not called Michael or Balaji or Aretha or Jabina or Tanmay or somebody in their organization, and they haven't been quick to respond or willing to help work through and find the solutions. So that's my personal testimony. I think I'm going to turn it over to Mike, and then when Mike's done, we'll hear what Mark has to say. So Mike, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, I would second that. Nobel is very responsive. One of the big reasons why we decided to switch over to Nobel was the benefit of disconnected mode that GeoViewer Mobile will work in. Here in Southern California, earthquakes are a concern. And if our buildings were to be leveled and our cell towers were down during those earthquakes, you don't get cell service. If that were the case, everyone in their truck would still have an Atlas book and all of the as-builts on their iPad. It still works with no cell service, even though it is cloud-based. So that was a big reason for us to switch over. Nobel has been incredibly responsive. We've gone from a GIS-based, just a work order system. Now we add generator inspections and sewer trouble tickets. We've probably got 20, 25 different activities that we're tracking with GeoViewer. And we just keep throwing forms at Jabina and Aretha, and they keep giving us new uses for GeoViewer Mobile. One of the biggest development benefits that we've had with GeoViewer has been their integration with our billing system, which our customer service staff uses in the field to work on their service orders, which goes both ways. So if somebody creates a service order in our billing system, it gets pushed out to the iPad to the worker in the field, and they're able to work on the ticket in the field, update it, close it. It all updates in our billing system. Prior to this, we were creating the work order or the service order in the billing system, printing it to paper, giving it to the worker. He goes out and does what he works on the service order, writes what he did on the paper, brings it back to customer service, and they check it out, manually enter it into the system. So this has been a huge time saver for us. The efficiencies that we've found with GeoViewer have been really, really substantial. They've integrated with our WOX billing, our WOX valve turning machine. So they control the machine, does the number of turns. We've given them an expected number of turns, and they can tell us whether that valve might be bad. So it helps us with our maintenance, our preventative maintenance as well. Our sewer crews have been using it extensively. We now do our fog and food service establishments on the iPad, do the inspections on the iPad. They take signatures right on the iPad from the restaurant owner or the manager, and we're able to email them the results of that inspection now, rather than a lot of paperwork. The redlining, all of the easements are right in the GeoViewer on the map. Yeah, so it's been a very good partnership with Nobel, and we're working on looking at doing a vehicle maintenance application with them as well, looking at expanding how we are using them. And as Tom said, during the pandemic, we've gone to split crews as well. So this has been a lifesaver. The one crew can go out there, make their comments, work on the work. They can then reassign the same ticket to another crew that needs to come out there and work on it the next day, or when they are in the office, because we are doing split crews, working, I think, 6 days a week now, or maybe even 7 days for our field staff. So it has been a lifesaver. Even the CCTV for the sewer trouble, the sewer guys, they're uploading our CCTV videos right into the map. So we're able to, my management is able to, or engineering department, get right into the map and click on a main line and see the last time that it was TV'd and view the video. So yeah, a lot of positivity with them. We've done a lot with them, and we continue to do more. We continue to find more uses for it. And they're very responsive when there are issues, and there are occasionally, of course. They're very, very responsive, and they see through that it gets fixed. So yeah, I'll pass it off to Mark.
Thank you, Mike, very much. That was a great presentation. And I'd like to introduce Mark Vaughn out at Joshua Basin Water District. And Mark, welcome aboard.
Perfect. Thank you, Tom. I mean, I think you guys did a great job of hitting the nail on the head when it comes to GeoViewer. Obviously, like you both discussed, there's a whole host of different platforms that are readily available in there. The valve turning, flushing programs, things of that nature. But really where it kind of gets into the meat and the bones of the program is being able to work with these agencies like ours and really kind of produce something that's agency specific towards what we need. One of those would be, we started a pipeline replacement crew last year where we're replacing anywhere from 25 to 30,000 feet of pipe a year. And being able to actually, control inventory, produce dailies from that program, and have a whole host of reporting tools that are available for us as staff to be able to take to our board to show the progress that we're making, and also to be able to report that to the state at the end of the year in our annual reports is obviously a plus when it comes to that as well too. Some of the other things that we're working on is our water quality reporting and our sampling out there. They've been able to take all of our sample sites and automates our chain of custody process. It's where we can actually go out there and make it an easy training for new employees that are coming through to be able to complete our sampling. Just a whole host of agency specific different tasks that are automated nowadays. We're also taking advantage of the IoT that you started out there as well. You know, when you have SCADA, you know, we often, of course, monitor wells and booster stations and things of that sort, but not a lot of automation out there on the, or not a lot of SCADA connections out there on our pressure reducing stations. So being able to utilize those transducers out in the field and kind of see how our pressure reducing stations are working out there has been a big plus for us as well. So. And really, you know, when it comes down to it, you know, I echo what you both said in working with this company and the folks that are employed there. You know, rarely do you ever hear a no, we can't do that. They're always going to try to make things, you know, agency specific and make sure that it works at the end of the day. So they're not going to leave you with a program that doesn't work appropriately. So. You know, we've stretched out into integrating with some of our billing software. Tyler is what we currently use at the district here. And though they don't offer an API for inventory, they do for their service order module. And that's getting ready to be deployed out in the field here real soon as well. And where that billing system lacks on the inventory control side, we'll be working with them to shore that up so that we can actually import that into the billing system in the future as well to make it a little bit easier on our finance folks. So, but really, like I said, I can't say enough about you know, their work ethic and some of the experiences that we've had with the firm. And you know, I think you know, I echo a lot of what you both said. So.
Thank you, Mark, very much. You know, on the Internet of Things, I just want people to have a good understanding of those pressure transducers. They're solar based, and so they basically have designed them to go where you might have a air release can, and they built them into an air release can, and there's a small solar panel on the top of the air release can that they built into it, and it's cellular based with a battery power that the solar panel is recharging the battery, and they're standalone, and they've worked great. And so I'm glad to hear, Mark, that you're also benefiting from that technology as well, because it's been really nice to be able to pinpoint where you may have a main break or a sheared fire hydrant or something going on in your system, you know, rather quickly, and not have to drive around or hunt or wait for somebody to call. So that's great. I love that. With that, I think Dan Brennan is on the line, and I think at this point I may turn it over to him to see if others have questions, or if there's questions for the panel.
Sure, thanks, Tom. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know that I don't see any questions in the chat box down below, but we're open for any questions for any of the panelists. So please direct your questions, and we'll get them answered by our experts here.
I think Andrew has asked, do we have any experience integrating with SCADA? Oh, yes. Yes, I think we did integrate with iHistorian, I think for Rowland. We haven't done this integration recently, but we did integrate with the SCADA system, the iHistorian. But now we've installed these pressure monitoring devices, and then these devices will send the information to SCADA.
Yeah, so I will just add to that, Aretha. Andrew, we use iFix and iHistorian here at Rowland, and so when we were working with Nobel to create the pressure transducers, we had to work with them and GE and our SCADA integrator to get those to communicate together. So the answer is yes. they do have history doing that.
I have a question for the panel. So can you go into a little bit more detail about the integration from the billing software to the work orders using GeoViewer?
Oh, yes, yes. I'll just share my screen.
So maybe Mike or Tom, you talked a little bit about, some of your billing systems. So are you guys able to share a little more detail about how that's worked for you with that integration?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
I think
Anita, I think Mike should take
Oh,
that.
yeah,
call.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, we use a CUSI, UMS is our billing software, and they provide an API that Nobel was able to use. So in the field, our customer service staff, Aretha is showing you there. We are able to see all of the usage history, all of the customer information. So this customer service staff finds this incredibly useful now. They didn't have this information in the field, and they would be meter reading or walking the district, and a customer in the district would ask them a question, and they couldn't really help them without this information. So now that they have this in the field, they come back and they tell me, hey, this is so great to have in the field. I'm able to help people on the spot. This information gives us everything we need to help our customers. They have all the customer information, all the usage history, and then the service orders. So the service orders is a big part of it. Previously, our customer service agents in the front would print them out. They would assign them to all of we've got 3 field customer service staff, and they would assign them each their service orders for the day. They would bring out the paper, work on it, write it on the paper, bring it back to customer service. They would enter it into the billing system. Now it's all seamless. They can add a service order in the middle of the day while the customer service are in the field, and they'll get it right there on their route. They don't have to come into the office, find a new service order that's an emergency, and have to run right back out there. They get it right out there in the field. It's really been an efficiency superstar for us.
Yeah, I think that's really an important point. I heard 3 different CIS systems: CUSI, Tyler Technologies, and Cassell, and each one of them is fairly complicated. But the GeoViewer platform sounds like it was able to integrate with 3 different CIS platforms and provide that work order management, asset management functionality you guys were looking for. We have another question. This one is actually for Tom. It says, Tom, you mentioned that as a California water agency, you're obligated to conduct the AWWA Level 1 water audit. Does GeoViewer activity make this an easier process to complete? And does it actually affect the scoring?
What was the last part of the question? Does it actually affect the score?
Yeah, does it actually affect the scoring for those water audits?
Yeah, well, I'm not the in-house expert on our California water audits, but yes, GeoViewer is an asset that helps us gather the information for those audits. And I know the audit has criteria within it that you get points, for monitoring your pressure, reducing your pressure through your system, which for a lot of us, that's very difficult to do, especially in our system, because our pressure is created by the reservoirs that are on hilltops, and we don't plan on lowering the elevation of our reservoirs and moving them down the hills. But it does help with the audit in those ways. So having these pressure transducers throughout our system, we get credit for that, yes. I would be happy to have my staff that actually performs the audit and gathers the data for the audits be available to you to answer your questions in more detail. But the genesis is, yes, we do use it very much for gathering the data for our audits.
Yeah, I think in that instance, having a platform that you can collect data and then bring that in-house to be able to analyze and look for those trends and patterns is really useful. So being able to bring that into the organization and then have collaboration with your team on those findings, I think is really important. So any other questions from anybody? Any other detail that you'd like to go into while we have everybody together?
Oh, I was going to say, just quickly show what Rowland has for their Aerie Scan. Here's the picture. This is a solar paneled Aerie Scan, and then here's the device here, and so it sends it through the cellular network.
And that's dual purpose, right? It's collecting the pressure, but it's still an air release. So we're not creating something, we're just repurposing and adding to those air release cans. Yeah. Very effective.
Yes, and here are their IoT devices, and so you could see you could see all of the devices here, and then you could get kind of real-time data here. So here's the chart view, and so you can see it live here. And then if there's like an alert, like a drop or a sudden drop, they get a phone call. It pushes the data to the SCADA system, which will alert. Which will alert the field crew, and then that way they can create a work order, send out a crew, investigate, and then get all of that information tracked. And then we can track all of that NRW, all of the water loss that happened during that leak. And then so it's all tracked there.
So if there's one more question, Dan, is it?
I think they're just saying good morning. So,
All right.
no question that I see.
If they come in, we can answer. And why don't we have Aretha do a quick 5-minute presentation? Oh, yeah, there's your question, Dan.
Yeah, so the question is, are the pressure monitors able to take up and downstream pressures?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, we've done that for Bellflower,
Yes.
Thomas at Water District. And I think Balaji will be better equipped to answer that. Balaji?
Yes, yeah, we did that for Bellflower as well as for the Rainbow Municipal Water Districts. So yes, our pressure monitors will have both upstream and downstream pressures option.
All right, thank you. Aretha, do you want to start your demo of the system? 5 minutes?
Okay. Sure. Yeah, here's like a brief video that I made. GeoViewer is a mobile application, so you can use it from your phone or iPad. And so we have like a kind of a dashboard for all of the field crews to see all of their work orders, service requests they need to complete, dig alert tickets. And then just want to show you the IoT devices we can show in real time, all of the pressures. And then if there's a sudden drop or an increase in pressure, it will send some real-time alerts. Let's show you here. And then you get like a text message on your phone. And then also we get some alerts through the app saying it dropped. And then you can create a work order and then assign it to your crew. And so we created this work order. And then we also provide driving directions. So the crew member can, drive to that location, and then they can fix this leak. They could track all of the water that was lost. And then they can see, set who worked on this. So we could track hours, and we could track, the cost, overtime hours. We could track the equipment that was used, like the truck, how many hours. And then, of course, we could track the inventory. So this automatically subtracts from the inventory. And so we can get all of this, and then we get the whole information. Also, we could create like an outage map. So who are affected by this leak? And so these are the parcels that are affected. And then we could send it to the office, to notify the customers that these are the parcels, these are the houses that are affected.
So
And then-
another, I'm sorry, just real quickly, Tom, there's another question for you. So how many IoT devices did Rowland install? And how did you determine the amount that you needed?
Yeah, well, we helped develop the technology with Michael and his team, developed the concept. And so we initially just started out with one, piloting it in our system and working on the solar technology and all of that. And then I think we initially went to 4, and our system is 6 zones. All the water comes into our zone 1, and then it gets lifted through different elevations through all the way up to 6 different zones. And so in our zone 1, we really don't have any facilities where we could monitor pressure throughout our zone 1, other than where we were taking water in. So we put 4 in our zone 1 and just kind of divided it into 4 quarters. And we have since just continued to add them as we see where one may be needed, we add them. And so I'm thinking we're somewhere around 12 now at this point. So yeah, and we'll most likely add more in the future. So we've covered zone 1 pretty well, and we've started moving into our different zones, but we will place them throughout our different zones. So we're still adding them.
Yeah, I also want to point out that, our IoT networks are capable of not only pressure, but flow, level, temperature, vibration, things like that. So it's a sensor network, and we're pretty, sensor agnostic. We can add any type of sensor into the network, our IoT network. And we've been doing this for like manhole covers to look at the water level there, vibration, for machinery and things like that. So the possibilities are endless. So so we also have a follow-up question. Are there any flow meters in the zones, Tom? The different zones that you mentioned?
Well, everything is metered in California, especially in Southern California. There's a few areas in Northern California that aren't, but in Southern California, almost all utilities are fully metered. So the water coming into our system that we're buying or purchasing from our wholesalers is metered, and then all individual accounts are metered. As far as Internet of Things, we're not utilizing that for metering at this point. We're just utilizing it for pressure transducing. But as Dan said, it's it's more holistic than that. And so if you have a need or have an interest in seeing what they can do for you through the Internet of Things, I know that their team will work very creatively to be able to develop a solution for that need.
Great, thanks. Okay, Aretha, sorry for the interruption.
No. So all of this information is stored into a dashboard. And so here you can see in the dashboard, so we can have we can track how much we spent on work orders, inspections, and we can do it across a date range, a week or month. So you can keep track of everything. And then you can plot it all on the map. And then you could see which type of work order you spent the most money. Here are the leaks. And then, yes, you could play it across a map here. And then all of these are based on the utilities tools. And so we could we could do it for service orders or maintenance. You could see the blow-offs flushed. And then we could track any inspections. And then we also could see all of the completed service requests. And we could see what type of the service request we completed, all of the leaks here. Maybe all the leaky meters are in this area. So you can draw some type of conclusion for that.
Yeah, a couple of technical questions. So I'm going to probably toss this one over to Balaji. So the first question is, do these tools utilize Esri GeoEvent server?
No.
No.
Yeah, so yeah, proprietary, I guess, back to Esri for the GeoEvent server. But, we can create a lot of the same functionality, from the, as the GeoEvent server. GeoEvent server is very complicated. It's very expensive to deploy. If you have that, I think that we could use some of that data, but it's really just a way to possibly leverage your SCADA system or some other like critical systems that you have. We have a different way of doing that that does not require you to install a GeoEvent server per se. As we're SaaS-based, it's a lot less complicated. If you do have that already deployed in your system, I'm certain that we can work with the data that's being generated there. But it's not really something that we would necessarily integrate to. Another question that we have is on the wastewater side of things. Is Nobel able to integrate with smart cover systems and data into the GeoViewer platform? So, response for that, Aretha or Balaji?
You can answer that, Dan.
Well, the short answer to that is, smart covers creates another sensor network. So they have their sensors that attach, to manhole covers and that sort of thing. So for the GeoViewer platform, we can integrate with that data that's being generated from the sensors from smart covers. There's not an API in place yet, quite frankly, because smart covers hasn't really provided one. But the short answer to that is, if you have a smart cover system and it's generating data, we can collect that into GeoViewer, and we can give you, the work order efficiency, the alarms, and things like that. That Aretha has been showing you through GeoViewer. So it's a really great way to visualize the data that's coming back from smart covers. I think smart covers is a really great sensor network, but being able to kind of work with the data that's coming back from there to understand where some of the kind of susceptible areas in your system are, to be able to respond to those. That's what GeoViewer is really great at doing. So smart covers, great sensors. GeoViewer helps you really leverage and extend the functionality of your smart cover system. So had a fair amount of experience working with them here in Texas, particularly. That's a pretty popular technology. GeoViewer will let you visualize and work with that data, and then have your team with the capability to kind of collaborate. Everybody can see it. Everybody can work with the information. It just really makes that data a lot more useful. Any other questions from the audience?
Okay, Aretha, can you wrap up? We have a few minutes.
Okay, sure. Oh, sorry. And so the idea is with all of this maintenance data and IoT data and also SCADA data, we could feed it into an artificial intelligence model and a hydraulic model, and it will predict where the assets are most likely going to fail. So as you can see there, these pipes right here have a 80 to 100% of failure, and we could see why. There's some big work orders here. We can see the installation date was 1955, and it was a steel pipe. So the idea is we are also partnering with near.ai. So we're getting all of this data, and then we can feed it into like a algorithm, machine learning software, and then that will create the useful insights and predict, what assets are most likely to fail. Here's it's like a report from El Toro, like a daily summary report. We can print out all of the work orders that were created. Here's like a CIRP report, so we could track all of the pipes that were replaced and map it to a particular project. Um, and so there's lots more tools that we have to show you. And if you're interested, we can do a more comprehensive demo. And so I think that's it from my end.
Thank you, Rita. And Tom, any final words, or shall we wrap up?
Yeah, no, I was glad that Aretha went into the AI, and that's something that we're excited about and working with your team on, Michael. And I think it's going to be a great asset for us, you know, in planning our future replacement costs and where the weaknesses are in our system. So look forward to furthering that technology and, you know, building those databases to create better indicators of future problems, right? So.
Thank you. Mike, anything that you'd like to add?
No, it's been a good relationship with Nobel. We've come a long way in the 3 years that we've been with you, and you know, we're appreciative of your hard work for us.
Thank you, Mike. And Mark, any parting words from your end?
Just thank you to everyone for the opportunity to be here today and talk shop a little bit. So
Thank you very much to everybody, and thank you for coming. And we'll wrap this up now. Thank you very much once again. Bye-bye.